I woke one morning and Stella was barking outside the cave house. I got up and went after her. At first, she was nowhere to be seen. When I did find her, she was high up on the hill, half growling, half barking, and her hackles were up. I soon saw why. A small junk far out to sea. I scrambled down the hill and met Kensuke coming out of the cave house, buckling his belt. "There's a boat," I cried. "The fire, let's set the fire." "First I look," said Kensuke, and despite all my protestations, he went back into the cave house for his binoculars. I raced up the hill again. The junk was close enough to shore. They would be bound to see the smoke, I was sure of it. Kensuke was making his way up towards me infuriatingly slowly. He seemed to be in no hurry at all. He studied the boat carefully now through his binoculars, taking his time about it. "We've got to light the fire," I said. "We've got to." Kensuke caught me suddenly by the arm. "It is the same boat, Mika-san. Killer men come. They kill the gibbons and steal away the babies. They come back again, I am very sure. I do not forget the boat. I never forget. They very wicked people. We must go, quick. We must find all orangutans. We must bring them into the cave. They be safe there." It did not take him long to gather them in. As we walked into the forest, Kensuke simply began to sing. They materialized out of nowhere in twos, in threes, until we had 15 of them. 4 were still missing. We went deeper and deeper into the forest to find them, Kensuke singing all the while. Then 3 more came crashing through the trees, Tomodachi amongst them. Only 1 was still missing, Kikanbo. Standing there in a clearing in the forest, surrounded by the orangutans, Kensuke sang for Kikanbo again and again, but he did not come. Then we heard a motor start up somewhere out at sea, an outboard motor. Kensuke sang out louder now, more urgently. We listened for Kikanbo. We looked for him. We called for him. "We cannot wait any longer," said Kensuke at last. "I go in front, Mika-san, you behind. Bring last ones with you, quick now." And off he went up the track, leading one of the orangutans by the hand and still singing. As we followed, I remember thinking that this was just like the Pied Piper leading the children away into a cave in the mountainside. I had my work cut out at the back. Some of the younger orangutans were far more interested in playing hide and seek than following. In the end, I had to scoop up 2 of them and carry them, one in the crook of each arm. They were a great deal heavier than they looked. I kept glancing back over my shoulder for Kikanbo and calling for him, but he still did not come. The outboard motor died. I heard voices, loud voices, men's voices, laughter. I was running now, the orangutans clinging round my neck. The forest hooted and howled in alarm all around me. As I reached the cave, I heard the first shots ring out. Every bird, every bat in the forest lifted off so that the screeching sky was black with them. We gathered the orangutans together at the back of the cave and huddled there in the darkness with them. As the shooting went on and on, all of them, Tomodachi, was the most agitated, but they all needed constant comfort and reassurance from Kensuke. All through this dreadful nightmare, Kensuke sang to them softly. The hunters were nearer, ever nearer, shooting and shouting. I closed my eyes, I prayed. The orangutans whimpered aloud as if they were singing along with Kensuke. All this while Stella lay at my feet, a permanent growl in her throat. I held on to the ruff of her neck just in case. The young orangutans burrowed their heads into me whenever they could, under my arms, under my knees, and clung on. The shots cracked so close now, splitting the air and echoing round the cave. There were distant yells of triumph. I knew only too well what this must mean. After that, the hunt moved away. We could hear no more voices, just the occasional shot, and then nothing. The forest had fallen silent. We stayed where we were for hours. I wanted to venture out to see if they had gone, but Kensuke would not let me. He sang all the time, and the orangutans stayed huddled around us until we heard the sound of the outboard motor starting up. Even then, Kensuke still made me wait a while longer. When at last we did emerge, the junk was already well out to sea. Okay. We'll finish chapter 10 in the next video. Let's see what happens.